several months to introduce him to the kids, fearful of bringing someone into their lives who might not stay. But I soon learned that Jake was a solid, reliable kind of man, the kind my mother immediately described as someone who would stick with you through cancer. As an oncologist's wife, this is her go-to gauge for the true measure of a person's worth. "Let's do Thai. I'm craving something spicy," I texted Jake, now, including a hot pepper emoji and a couple of winking smiley faces, hoping he'd pick up on the innuendo. I couldn't remember the last time he and I had had a date night, especially one that he suggested, so the fact that he'd texted in the middle of the day to ask me out gave me hope that he might initiate something more after dinner, too. "Oh, I'll give you something spicy, woman," he wrote back. That sounds promising, I thought, though I tried to manage my expectations. Jake would often talk a good game about sex. He'd flirt and make suggestive comments, but didn't always follow through with the act itself. A couple of weeks ago, I'd sent him a selfie of me standing in front of a sold sign with a big smile on my face, and he replied, "Wow, that woman is smokin'. Think I might be able to convince her to sleep with me?" "Let me ask," I said, waiting a few seconds before sending him a second text. "She says maybe, but only if you promise to go down on her." "That's my favorite direction. How did she know?" And yet, as soon as we were both at home, Ella asked Jake to run soccer drills with her, and after that, Tucker needed his help with science homework. So by the time we went to bed, my husband kissed me, rolled over, and promptly fell asleep. I didn't say anything because how could I complain that he prioritized spending quality time with the kids? I knew from talking with other friends who were on their second or third marriage that not all men took to the role of stepfather the way Jake had. So I told myself that I should count my blessings. This was just a sexual dry spell. All marriages went through them. I simply had to be patient, and eventually we'd go back to the way we used to be. Still, I was determined to try to keep a flicker of our romantic life alive. I'd met Jake in the kitchen last Friday night wearing nothing but high heels, a lacy thong, and one of his favorite blue ties dangling between my breasts. I'd thought about that moment all week, knowing both kids would be at a friend's house for an overnight. Hearing his car pull into the garage, I struck the sexiest pose I could manage while teetering upon 4-inch stilettos. My right hand rested on my hip, elbow jutting out. "Hi, baby," I said as he walked in the door. "Nice tie," Jake said. He smiled, taking a second to run an appreciative gaze over my body before glancing at his phone. I took a couple of wobbly steps toward him, high heels clicking on the tile floor, and then made a playful grab for his cell. "Please tell me my naked body is more interesting than whatever it is you're looking at." He pulled his hand out of reach. "Sorry," he said. "I really need to reply to this email. It won't take long. Meet you in the bedroom in 10? I frowned and crossed my arms over my chest, cupping my shoulders in my hands. All week I had imagined him dropping his briefcase on the floor and tearing off his own clothes the minute he saw me, the way he had in the beginning, before we got married, on the nights the kids were at Peter's, or when we'd enjoy what we fondly called a naked lunch. Since both of us were self-employed, we had the kind of flexibility in our schedules to pull off a daytime tryst. One afternoon, he had invited me over to his place, leaving the door unlocked so I could let myself in. "Jake?" I called out, once I'd stepped inside his condo. We'd been dating about 4 months at that point, sleeping together for 3. "In here," he replied. His voice floated down the hallway from his bedroom. I found him on the bed, already naked, vanilla-scented candles lit all around. They were my favorite, in almost every room of the small home I shared with the kids, so he had bought some for his place, too, a gesture I'd found endearing. But the candles didn't hold my attention for long, because his hand was between his legs, stroking, his gaze locked on mine. "I've been thinking about you all morning," he said.